But I think the main things is at the end of the day, volleyball is volleyball. It's in the same 9x9 court, and the rules are the same. So we. Is that on the back of your shirt?
Yeah, it's on the back of the shirt.
Muted. A little free shout out for you. And it doesn't matter who's on the other side of the net. You need to still execute to the best of your ability if you want a chance to win.
It is Wednesday, my dudes.
Weird that we never do shows on Wednesday. This is like the second ever.
Also,
Oh,
I'm
we're
an
muted.
idiot. Yeah, I
We're
muted us
muted.
all. That's okay, but you know what? Everyone
It
still
is
heard
Wednesday,
this.
my dudes.
Right?
Oh man,
they missed my yell with it.
I was
what
so
happened?
worried about queuing up the video that I forgot to unmute us after the Brett Walsh video. My bad.
Well,
great high quality show here. What's up, people? Now you can hear us, this is the 81 Square Meters, the best volleyball coverage on the internet. My name is Rob St. Clair, live from Chicago. That is Everett Delorme, live from Toronto. Maybe it's not the best volleyball coverage on the internet if we can't figure out how to make the audio work. Everett, happy Wednesday, my friend.
yeah. Wednesday is. I'm not used to doing shows on Wednesday. So I literally woke up. I went to a concert last night. I was a little hungover, and I was just like, I like to go for a run when I'm hungover. So putting my shorts on. Then Rob sends me our switcher link, and I was like, oh yeah, we have a show today. So literally, if you had sent it to me 5 minutes later, I would have been running on the road, and I would have had to turn around. So happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome. Good to talk some volleyball again, and this time we're just gonna kind of talk about some transfers. Just go a little bit over around the market. We don't really have much to talk about. We're waiting on some big things on our own side. We'll tell you guys about that maybe later.
Yes,
but right now we're just waiting. We're just gonna go over some transfers, go over what we're gonna be expecting a little bit later on as we wait for the rest of the international season to continue. Of course, Eurovolley, NORCECA Championships, all that good stuff starts in a little bit, and we're about a month and a half away from the start of the Olympic qualifiers as well.
That's right. And it works out kind of well, really, because next weekend I will be gone, or next week, sorry, I will be gone. So we will not have a show next week. I will be in Europe, which will be very cool. Then we'll get back the following week, and it'll be just in time for Eurovolley. So we're going to fill some time with something that everyone's really been asking us. Everyone seems very, very excited about this topic. Everyone's been begging us to talk about club volleyball transfers, which we don't like to talk about while there's national team volleyball actively going on, but we're going to talk about it now. So,
which you don't want to talk about. I've been wanting to talk about it.
But
I'm going to blame this one on you.
Oh, okay. Well, fine. I'll plant my flag in the ground on this one. I'm not going to talk about club volleyball transfers literally in the middle of VNL, you stooges. But now that there's no volleyball going on, we have plenty of time to talk about club volleyball transfers. So let's jump into it. We're going to start with one of the great resources in all of volleyball. And I'm going to put the link to this right now in the live chat. This is...
Yeah, do it, because even I don't have it.
Yes, this is the Tommy Blizzard transfer spreadsheet. This is one of the great resources we have in volleyball, curated by our own Tommy Blizzard. He keeps track of all the transfers in and out of every team in Italy on the men's side and the women's side. And look, I'm just seeing a million people, a bunch of anonymous links into this Google Drive, start looking at this, which is fantastic. So this is the men's one. Once we start talking about the women's one, I'll put that link in the chat as well. But this is an amazing resource that Tommy puts together. We'll go through this in a lot more detail. Before last club season, we did a full 2-hour-long show previewing the Superlega and the Lega Volley Femminile, and we'll dive into that a lot more in a dedicated show in probably October before the seasons get started. But we can talk about some transfers here. We can give the people a little appetizer. So
yeah, for sure. I just this is the best time because every every team thinks they're going to do better than last season, right?
That's
no
true.
one has lost a game yet, and it's the best time to just clown teams on stupid moves. This is
One of our favorite pastimes on this show.
Exactly. It is literally going to be an entire episode of me just talking shit and hyping up any Canadian who's going anywhere. That's exactly what's going to happen. So if you're not ready for that, you can join us back in 2 weeks, because that's exactly you bet your ass that I think Monza's going to win the Scudetto next year.
Oh man, love it. We'll certainly get to that, but let's go down this thing relatively quickly. Mostly just talk about the differences, like the guys who teams brought in, guys who teams lost. Starting with the Scudetto champs in Trentino, basically the same team. They do bring in Jan Kozimiernik from Resovia in the middle, and they bring in Kamil Rykliski from Perugia at opposite, who, as far as we know, will count as an Italian. Not that it's going to matter, because they've still got plenty of Italians on Trentino. But other than that, they are pretty much identical. And they
whoa. First of all, you lose your top scorer, Matej Kaczynski. Second of all, you lose Sreko Luzniak. But most importantly, you lose the man who drives the bus, the man who sets the tone for everything, Mr. Angelo Lorenzetti.
That is a big change.
Massive change. I think, yes, you're losing. You're not seeing the whole, like, we're not seeing a Modena, like, complete, like, let's just get rid of everyone and then we're going to have an entire new team back. But you are missing you are losing some massive pieces here, and some massive pieces that have, like, been regulars in that Trentino squad. I think they're going to take a step back.
Okay, so I actually don't know who the new coach is. Oh, I guess it's Fabio Soli. Yeah, Fabio Soli, the guy who coached Cisterna last year. That's an interesting pickup. I mean, I think anything's going to be a downgrade from Lorenzetti. He's done an unbelievable job with that team the last couple of years. Finally got a Scudetto under the belt. But yeah, Rykliski, I mean, my thoughts on him have always been pretty clear. I think he's overrated. I think he's got a pretty low ceiling. I think his play style will fit decently well with Trentino.
Yeah.
And then I do like Jan Kozimiernik a lot. I think he's perfectly good, but you lose that, like, top end explosiveness of Lisinac, even though Lisinac has struggled a little bit to stay healthy. So I think the identity of this Trentino team will be pretty similar.
Yeah,
but yeah, the difference under a new coach is non-trivial, and I think I'm glad you brought that up. That's pretty important to note.
Massive. It's also important for the other team on the other side of that, Perugia, getting that coach. And I think that is going to be very, very interesting. We're going to talk about Perugia in a little bit, but I think that will be very interesting. But yeah,
totally.
Trentino, you're right. Kozimiernik does the job, and Rykliski, I think he fits into that Trentino kind of share the ball offense very well. Although he's not as terminal, I would say, as Matej Kaczynski.
Yeah, that could work. We'll see. I'm curious.
They'll still be top four. They'll still be top four.
Definitely. Yeah, they'll still be top four. All the way. By the way, question: will you focus on the Italian leagues only? No. We'll cover all of Europe. We just have this.
Yeah,
we have the resource. Like, we have literally all the Italian transfers in one place, thanks to our friend Tommy Blizzard. So that's where we're going to start, and then we'll move on from there. Up next, Lube Civitanova, who definitely overperformed last year, losing in the finals. They make really the biggest key change is bringing in Adis Lagumja at opposite, which is going to be definitely some stability there. They couldn't really figure that out last year with a little bit of Gabi Garcia, a little bit of Zaitsev, even a little bit of Alex Nikolov. This will look like a more traditional offense with Lagumja on the right. They've still got Nikolov, Yant, Zaitsev, and Botolo. I mean, Tommy right now has Zaitsev listed as a starting outside hitter.
I mean, that's what we saw with him last year, right? So
he lined up at opposite, but then passed the ball a lot. So
yeah,
who knows what they're going to do? We also aren't sure about Simone Anzani's health. I know he just had some kind of surgery. He might or might not play Eurovolley. They do bring him Jakob Tella.
I do like that.
The setter from Hawaii is the back of Checo. I like that too. That's going to be
lefty
cool.
Danish. He's Danish, or is he Norwegian?
I think he's Norwegian.
Yeah, let's volleybox this shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Tella's Norwegian. I think I got that wrong last time we talked about him. He'll be an unbelievable serving sub off the bench at the very, very least.
This is going to be another interesting saga of that pipeline. Norway. He's Norwegian.
Cool.
Yeah. This will be another interesting, like, kind of chapter in that pipeline of NCAA to Lego Volley, because it hasn't really gone well in the past the past few guys, other than Nikolov, of course. But like looking at Garcia, looking at guys like Mads Ked Jensen, especially like the other Sander, Brandon Sander, guys going straight to Lego Volley hasn't worked out super well from the NCAA.
I'm going to push back on the Gabby Garcia thing a little bit. He had a really good first year coming in when nobody expected him to start.
So did Mads Ked Jensen.
I mean, he's terrible. Different conversation entirely. Garcia had a good first year. Then he's been riding the bench behind one of the best opposites of a generation ever since. I don't think it's fair to call his career a failure by any means. He's played 2 years. He's for one of the best clubs ever. He's going to go play in Padova, be the primary scorer this year. I think don't talk down so much on Gabby Garcia, especially now that I have to come to his defense, given that now he's American. I still see a huge amount of upside, and we're going to see it this club season. We'll talk about him in a bit, but
he's Puerto Rican Ben Patch.
Don't ever say that again. that is slanderous.
For me with Lube, it's right now it's the Nikolov question.
Yeah.
Where does Nikolov fit in? Does he slide in on the left side? Can he get enough good enough serve receive and ball control to be able to slot it in there? I mean, we saw him get dismantled all throughout the VNL in serve receive. Every team was going after him, and you know what? He has a fantastic swing, maybe one of the purest swings and ball contacts I've ever seen. But dude needs to pass the ball because he's not going to be able to survive on the right.
Correct. Also, for the first time maybe ever, this is not a problem that Lube has, but they're going to have foreigner limit issues.
Wow.
With this particular team, especially if Anzani is hurt to start the season, they'll have to put in Diamantini, who's definitely a step down, even though he's Italian. But they're going to need to start either Botolo or Zaitsev on the left, assuming that Marlon Yant is the other starter. And I just don't really know how that's going to look. You're going to be leaving a very good player on the bench no matter what because of the foreigner issue. So we'll see how Lube deals with that.
Absolutely.
By the way, you can see Tommy's chart. The blue players and the projected starters are Italian, and you've got to have 3 Italians in your starting 7. That's the rule in the Superlega. So everyone's got to keep that in mind. Coming up next is Piacenza, who is basically the exact same team as last year. Really, the only change is they lose Kineski and they bring in Ricci in the middle. Who cares? That's the most insignificant move. Everything else is identical.
And they bring in Anastasi too.
Right.
Confirmed stooge.
Indeed.
Right. Like let's be honest. Last year we saw the biggest breakdown of a team ever, winning 20 straight matches, then going 6-6 to get knocked out of the quarterfinals and the semifinals of the Champions League with arguably one of basically the best team money can buy you. The year before, he took a Champions League team and playoff team in Warsaw and didn't even make the playoffs with them in the Plus Liga. When are people going to stop giving Anastasi contracts?
Couldn't have said it better. That's the most significant and pretty much the only change for Piacenza. We'll see if they can continue to disappoint.
I think they will continue to disappoint, right?
Remember, they will play Champions League this year.
Which is I think they're going to do well in Champions League.
Really?
They're going to be one of those teams who does better in Champions League than they do in the regular season. Because you've got a lot of this is a I don't care team, right? You've got literally the kings of I don't care until it matters in Leao and Romano. And Brizard. Brizard and Romano and Leao are all players who are kind of be like, yeah, you know what? This isn't a big game. Let's just do whatever. This team's gonna finish 6th in the regular season, I bet. Or
just like last year. I mean, they did the same thing last year. They ended up getting 3rd. Yeah, I kind of agree. I was gonna call Yuri Romano the personality driver of this team and just not caring until the playoffs, but you're even more right about Yoandy Leal being very similar.
And Antoine Brizard, you've got big. Yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I wonder. It's kind of amazing how Piacenza managed to build this team that's so good on paper, but they're just not very likable. I find myself rooting against this team for some reason, even though I love Robert Landy Simone so much.
Yeah. Oh, this is where we need Ronnie to come in and tell us all the tea that's going on in the back end of of Piacenza. I mean, he was telling us last year that, like Piacenza as a club just has so much, like so far to go to be a team like Lube.
That will continue to be true. They do have a long way to go. Moving on to Milano. Milano obviously had maybe the biggest upset in club volleyball history last year, beating Perugia in that quarterfinal in the playoffs. They made a bunch of moves. So Poro's still there at setter, Matteo Piano, Agustin Loser still in the middle, Ishikawa still on the left. But they go out and get two amazing pins, both of whom could potentially play opposite. They go get Petar Zirlich from Cisterna, and they get Matej Kaziski from Trentino. So what will they do with Matej Kaziski? Will they put him on their right? Will they put him on the left? I'm not sure, because they've still got Margarejo, who's very good and very capable.
Yeah, I don't agree with what Tommy has here at all. I think you put Dirlich on the bench. I think you put Kaczynski on the right side. And the way that Melgarejo has been playing with this team, I think you have to put him in the starting lineup.
I agree.
Right. I as fantastic as Ishikawa was last year, and it's gonna kill me to say this because I know Ronnie's gonna clip it out and like use it against me. But I think Melgarejo on a number of occasions was the anchor of that team and like showed up really, really well for them down the stretch. I think you need him on the court.
I agree. I think Ishikawa and Poro is the best. Sorry, Ishikawa and Margarejo is the best outside duo. And although I like Petar Zirlich a lot, I think he's a stud. Proved it with his scoring numbers last year. But I do think Kaziski has that level of polish and Superliga winning experience that you kind of need, and you don't have to worry about him passing the ball. I think he's living his best life playing opposite at this point in his career. So we'll see what Piazza, our new best friend, chooses to do with that team.
Oh man, I forgot Piazza's there. It's so funny. No one did a full 180 like Piazza.
Oh man,
on the 9x9. No, I actually like that kind of that, because you've got Matej Kaczynski and Dirlich, who are different right sides and different opposites. Like Dirlich hits a heavy ball and he challenges the block really well. So I really like the difference that you have there. Problem is you have Paulo Poro, who is once again another guy that Milano's like the come up kids, They going from stooge to favorites, but Paulo Poro still might set one of the ugliest right side balls in the league.
Yeah, it's pretty gross, but we do like the kid. We saw him play this summer, and I interviewed him, and we liked him, but still not good at setting the right side. That's a fact. I can't get around that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Milano. I do think they'll be really interesting. Definitely a playoff team for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I think you lose a little bit not having a guy like Jean Patry there and losing Abadapor in the middle, of course.
Oh boy, good times with them. Not at least they have 4 middles on their roster this year. They learned their lesson from last year.
Also losing another future Team USA and current Puerto Rican guy, Clistan Lawrence.
I knew you were going to make that joke.
You guys just take everything from them, don't you?
Yeah, I mean they do belong to us.
Let's not go down that road.
All right, coming up next, Vero Volley Monza, just outside Milano in the suburbs. This is basically Team Canada. We've got 3 Canadians now. Eric Lepke joins this team. Of course, you got Stephen Marr. You got Arthur Schwartz, who might be relegated to the bench, even with the departure of Gerard Grozer. You bring in Ibrahim Lawani, who made a big splash in Toronto the second half of last year. Otherwise, mostly the same. I'm really excited, hoping that Cachopa stays healthy. Had that knee injury last year, but if he gets to set the entire year for Monza, this team's going to be pretty good. And not just because they have all Canadians.
I think Tommy might be like, let's be honest. I feel like we've seen it before. If an Italian team has a Japanese player in the roster, they're going to play him a lot.
You do have Ron Takahashi now.
Ron Takahashi did have a fantastic VNL. And I think that Mar is going to be the P1, and then you're going to see that P2 flip-flop between Lepke and Takahashi. Like you can't have a guy like Takahashi on the bench. You also can't have a guy like Eric Lepke on the bench. So I think they're just going to provide different looks. Also, Lawani still rehabbing that injury, so they're going to start with Schwartz on the right side and then bring him in. But you got 2 guys who are long and physical on the right there for this Monza squad, and they're going to be playing they're going to be playing either Challenge Cup or CEV Cup.
I don't remember which. Because I was expecting them to get bumped up to probably CEV Cup for finishing 5th, but I think they might not have. I think they might just be playing Challenger Cup. I'm not sure. So we'll see, but they'll be playing something in the CEV. I actually do like this team. I
Mhm.
like Galassi and DiMartino. I like those two middles a lot. I love Cachopa. And I like that they have 2 capable opposites and 3 capable outside hitters. I think that's an important thing to have. I mean, we talk about the third outside hitter a lot as being a pretty important piece of a team. And
Mhm.
even if it ends up being Eric Lepke, which right now, Everett, I hate to break it to you, Eric Lepke will be the third outside hitter on this team when all's said and done. But he's going to get playing time. He's going to be useful. He's going to have utility, and Monza's going to need him.
In key situations, they're going to go to the reliable Canadians. That's what's going to happen in Monza. Your face.
We've seen this movie before. At least now we know that Stephen Marr is the most invincible of the 3. He will play every match because he is a stud and he is the exact type of play style guy that they need. And they had him last year, and he was one of the best scoring outsides in the league. So we obviously love Stephen Marr here on this show. Yeah, I like Monza. I think that they can be good. They can, especially if they play CEV Challenge Cup, they should be the favorite to win that tournament.
Mina Villa is always such a hater on Canadian people. Like always a hater in the chat of any Canadian. Poor attacking IQ. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, clearly you didn't watch any of Monza last year when Marr was one of the best both volume and efficiency outsides in the league. So I'll defend Everett in Canada on this one. Stephen Marr is fantastic.
Yeah,
really good.
You just like Stephen Marr because his parents love you.
I also like Stephen Marr because his parents love both of us. Great shout outs to the Marr family.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to Perugia. Oh boy, did we have fun making fun of Perugia this past season. And sure enough, the biggest move they made, like you said, was Angelo Lorenzetti at head coach. Other than that, really the only move they made was bringing in Wasim Bentara at opposite, who I love. I love this guy. I think he's way better than Rick Liskey. Way better. And I expect him to start over Herrera, who is staying. Other than that, it's the same. They've still got like a 3-headed middle thing. They've still got Plotnitsky, who I'm kind of surprised Tommy doesn't have as a projected starter, to be honest. But what do you think, Everett? What do you think Lorenzetti is Lorenzetti the answer? Can he fix the loser culture or the choking culture in the playoffs of Perugia?
So here's my thing. The problem isn't Anastasi, it's not Heinen, it's not Gerbich, it's not any one of these revolving doors of coaches. Gerbich didn't coach there, did he? No,
He did. Yeah, he did.
No, he did.
Gerbich coached there,
Yeah.
I think 2 years ago.
It's not any one of these revolving doors of coaches. It's clearly the who's the Jerry Jones of the volleyball world. Are there Gino Cerci? And I mean, hey, when I was doing a little bit of research of this at the end of the season, you start looking up like Trentino when they joined the league, they just bought another team's basically another team was in bankruptcy and they bought their way back into it. You know, like Cerci built this team up from the lowest levels at the beginning of the 2000s and built up Perugia to be a force in this level. And he owns a construction company and all of that. So I understand why he's so passionate about it, right? Like this is a dream that he's had now for 20 plus years and he's built up to it. You know, unlike other clubs that are just kind of bought their way into the top leagues, they've really earned their way. So I have massive amount of respect for that. But when you hear some of the remarks from the players leading up to that Champions League final against Zaxa during that playoff against Milano, like he's in there giving the pep talk. Like this dude is the Jerry Jones of the volleyball world.
That comparison couldn't be better.
It couldn't because they have the biggest budget. Everyone thinks it should be them. They're buying the best players in the world, and they just can't get the job done. So for me, if I'm Lorenzetti, I have a clause in my contract that you are not allowed in my dressing room. You are not allowed at practices. You are not there is stipulations of what you can and cannot do around this team because this team has the ability, but it just seems to me like they're in that pressure cooker created by Gino Cerci. Now, you talked about Wasim Bentara. I don't like this move at all. I really don't. This Wasim Bentara, what has he ever done on the big stage at any level? Right? He's Tunisian, so international volleyball, African championships don't matter. I'm sorry. Like it's them against Egypt, and that's it. Cameroon comes in and does a little dance like we see every year at the World Championships, but that's about it. He played for a Stall Nisa team that made the playoffs once in his time there, which was last season, and they got knocked out right off the bat. Like this, he is not like you're going from being a guy who has never had any pressure on him ever and is just a high flyer and a big banger to being in the biggest pressure situation in volleyball. Furthermore, like their play style is very heavily left side loaded. You have some of the best swingers on the left side there with Plotnitsky, Semeniuk, and Leon. All of the balls on that team are going to be middle and left side, right? And down the pipe. You need a guy like Rich Litchke. I loved Rich Litchke there because he just he goes in and just does his role, right? He sets up a good block. He plays good around the ball. And he kills the ball when he needs to. He's not a guy who's going to come in and lead your team. He's not that stereotypical big right side, which Wassim Bentara is. Now you're creating more decisions for the setter. They don't have a clear path and outlook. A lot of volume needs to go to the left side, but how can a lot of volume go to the left side and go to Wassim Bentara, who's a guy who's unproven in pressure situations? Because you know that Herrera is also a guy who doesn't do well in pressure. He's either going to be fantastic or he's going to be bad, but he's going to make 15 errors while doing it because I'm going to be chirping him on the sidelines, right? So I don't like this move at all. It's very much just like, hey, we're just going to get another big swinger in. Why not? Like there's no thought about the fit, about the chemistry. And as I've said, he has never proved himself in a pressure situation. He's played one playoffs in his life. He never plays national team.
Okay, I like this take because I completely disagree, and I'm really excited to see which one of us comes out on top at the end of the season because I love Bentara, and I think it's going to work really well. I think he's the perfect play style fit. I think that he can hang. I think that he can handle it. He just hasn't had any opportunities. I mean, come on, you play for Nissa. They almost got relegated the first year he was there. Yeah. Actually, they did get relegated, and then they won like the series against the team that got promoted. Then the following team, they made the playoffs because he's that good, and they finally gave him a couple half decent foreign teammates. I like Bentara. I think it's going to work. Don't talk about the setter has too many choices. The setter is Simone Ginelli. If he can't figure it out, then nobody can. But I also completely agree with Lorenzetti keeping Circi out the gym because last year Anastasi was only in there to not get in the way. He was just in there to put out a starting lineup and stay out of the way. Lorenzetti is completely different. Lorenzetti wants and should have complete control of everything. He should be the guy. He should be the voice. He should mold that team's identity. Anastasi was completely the opposite. He was just trying to get out of the way and not screw anything up. And if you're going to let Lorenzetti do his job, you need to keep Gino Circi as far away from the on day-to-day operations as possible. So I do agree with that. But I love Bentara, and I think he's going to have a fantastic year. So we'll see which one of us is right about that.
I mean, I hope you're right. I don't know. The math isn't math in my head. One thing that we have to remember, too, about Lorenzetti is that his relationship with Gianelli. Right, like Gianelli grew up in that Trentino system. Yes. They really grew up together. Like he has been as his coach forever, for a long time. So yeah, I think that it is going to be very much like as much as Lorenzetti is brought in to coach Trentino, I think he's really being brought in as well to coach Gianelli. Because if you coach Gianelli, you make Gianelli the kingpin of that team and like the ability to make those decisions and like give him that power, then like because we saw regression in Gianelli for sure over the course of that
absolutely
of that season last year, and I want to see how Lorenzetti can work with him, and we all know that they have a great relationship, so it should be good.
That is another very, very good take. So we'll see. Perugia is always going to garner plenty of conversation. Let's move on to a team that made approximately 1 million moves. It's talking about Modena, one of the best clubs of all time, who is really trying to cling on to that elite status that they haven't really had the last couple years.
I think we need to take it away. Because
think-
this team ain't it. This team
No.
ain't it.
No, they're not. I mean, so this projected starting lineup is a really interesting one. The only really pieces they keep are Bruno and then Sanguinetti and Daddy Stankovic
And Rinaldi.
as two of the middles, and then Rinaldi. So they bring in Maxim Sapochkov from Verona, who I love. I think that's a great move. I think he's probably not better than Adis Lugumzia, but at least as good. They also bring in Vlad Daviskiba from Monza, who's okay. I mean, he's a second outside hitter. They also bring in the legendary Osmani Juan Terena back in Italy, and to just be like a factor off the bench, and he helped Ziraat Bank win the Turkish League Championship last year. They also bring in Anton Brema in the middle, who Everett and I both love. So they've got 3 great options in the middle. They've got 3 okay options on the left side. Everett, what do you think is Modena's ceiling?
Oh, I don't think their ceiling is very high, to be perfectly honest. Like, you want, like, first and foremost, I think it's very interesting that Montahano went to Modena, considering that when he left Lube, he was just like, if I was to play in the Superliga again, it would be for Lube. Like, this is my home. Doesn't get that. And then now Tommy is predicting him to be on the bench. That's very interesting. I don't think this team has
Tommy is a Modena fan,
and Tommy is like a Modena lifer. Like,
huge.
It must be hurting him to be writing out this this one. But I mean, I think this is a team that has really put all their eggs in all their eggs in a few baskets. And I think, they paid Engapeth for a long time. They brought in Swan to keep him happy there for a little bit. They keep on going to Bruno, and let's be honest, we keep on seeing Bruno. That Bruno is he's not Bruno anymore. It's like watching Tom Brady with the Bucks. It was good for a little bit, but it just got bad after that. So, like, honestly, I see like Monza and Milano and probably even Piacenza, even they're probably going to suck ahead of Modena right now. I think Modena is going to be good. They're going to be good just because of that legacy aspect. And when you play for a club like Modena, you have like a little bit more pride, and you show up, and they kind of stay with it. And they still have some good players, but ultimately, like, when push comes to shove, is Rinaldi and Daviskiba going to be able to get the job for you? And like, as good as Shaposhkov was last year at the beginning of the season, he really kind of fell off. And like, it's going to be interesting to see, for me, like, that sophomore slump, how that affects him, because he's a guy who's a 7'2" guy that is sometimes hitting down here like he's 6'9",
Yeah,
and that it's one of those things where he can be very error prone. Do I think? And I completely disagree that bringing Shaposhkov is just equal to Lugumzia. Like, I mean, I don't let Berkay hear me say this, but like, Lugumzia is far timed, in my opinion, way better and way more like seasoned, and like, we know how good Lugumzia is. Once again, Shaposhkov, we didn't know who he was until the beginning of the last season. Right, he doesn't play with Russia on the international stage, whereas like Lugumzia has been there with Turkey. This is his second year in the league. Lugumzia has kind of figured things out. Like, this to me is a downgrade for Modena for sure, and I'm not entirely sure Shapochkov can handle it all throughout the year.
Okay, we'll see. Also, I really love this chat message. It just says Penali bad.
Penali bad.
And I completely agree. There's two of them. They brought in 2 Penalis. Yeah, Giulio Penali sucks, and everyone knows it, but that's okay. Also, we can throw out this entire transfer spreadsheet. It's completely invalid. Nobody needs to trust it. That's because Tommy has Daddy Stankovic starting on the bench. Obviously, that cannot ever be the case. Don't be ridiculous.
Is he Italian now?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's been Italian. Daddy's been Italian for a couple years now. But in all seriousness, I actually do really like Sanguinetti, the Italian that he has probably in the starting lineup. I do like that kid a lot. He ended up starting over Crick last year because Crick is an embarrassment.
Where's Crick going?
Who knows? Who cares? Tommy doesn't even have him on this list. God, I love this so much.
That dude's become a meme.
Hilarious. Also, and I'm not sure I knew this, but they replaced Andrea Gianni.
Yeah.
I don't know who this Petrella guy is, the new coach.
I'm pretty sure he was like coaching under him this year. Yeah, Crick has not signed with anyone.
Oh, Crick's a free agent. Well,
yeah.
Yikes. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they break up the
Sorry,
Irvin
Petrella.
and Gapeth and Gianni love duo, and we'll see how they go.
Petrella has been the assistant coach for Lorenzetti for the past 5-6 years
At Trento.
at Trento, and before that was an assistant coach for Modena.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
Well, Mono is going to be an interesting one. Let's talk about Cisterna. We should pick up the pace here a little bit. Cisterna is weird because they never really finalized their roster until like the last possible second. They do get Pavle Peric, who I like, and they get Teo Four from France to make his debut in the Superliga. But past that, I don't really know.
Tommy has him here on the right side.
Yeah, four is an opposite.
Is he?
Yeah, that's correct. But yeah, he doesn't have Peric in the starting lineup, which I completely disagree with. I don't know who this Ferragut guy is. No idea who that is.
Why am I stupid?
Yeah, four is an opposite.
Okay.
We'll see. Cisterna's never one of the most relevant teams.
No, if at all.
Yeah,
They're usually they were a little bit. Ferragut is Spanish. Played for Narbonne last year.
Pavle Peric is way better than whoever that is.
I guess we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Let's talk about Verona. Verona is an interesting one. They get Donovan Zavaronok who was riding the bench on Trentino last year. They get Amin, the Iranian lefty. They get Aiden Zingle, the Australian, who now apparently counts as Italian in the middle, which actually does help, but he might not really play because they have Mosca, who's Italian, I think is better. They've still got The Rock. They've still got Namori Keita, who will probably play on the right side where he belongs, but then they've also got Amin. I don't really know.
There's no because you have Francesco Asani out there from UCI as well, which is wild.
He's an opposite, so he's listed here as an outside hitter, but he's an opposite. He'll be the third opposite for sure.
He's Jake Haynes-esque, in my opinion.
He's a lot more dynamic. He's a lot more dynamic than Jake Haynes. A lot more dynamic. I'm not saying he's going to be a national team stud, but he is a lot more dynamic than Jake Haynes. He'll never sniff the court for Verona. That's obviously the point. He's like a Cliston Lawrence, like go ride the bench for a talented team and get some experience. So
I saw him warm up with the B team last summer at the Pan Am Cup because he didn't ever touch the court behind Jake Haynes.
Right.
But so but no, to me you have to have Amin start. Like you don't bring a guy on like Amin to have him on the right, like on the bench, A. But then B, like Verona has shown their colors. Right, Stoichev has shown his colors. They're going to put Keita on the left side. You're going to start Keita and The Rock, and that's why they have Zavaronok in there to kind of solidify the serve receive when they need it to be. You're going to have Keita on the left side. Tommy, like, quit wishing for this. Quit wishing. Come on, like, let's go.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, do I trust Radostin Stoichev to make a good decision literally ever? No. No, of course not. Especially when he has too many pieces to play with, which once again he does. Way too many options. He will make all the wrong choices. Oh boy, yeah. Strap in, get ready for the ride with Verona. Toronto, I have no idea what's going on with this team.
This team is crazy.
They do bring in Kyle Russell and Jeff Jendrick, which I like, but then they go out and sign Filippo Lanza.
Let's go. First team all hair. First team all hair with Daddy Stankovic. And you have Esteban Gutierrez from Cuba as well. You've got Trinidad Daharo setting this team. This team is honestly all over the place, and I'm here for it.
Complete wild card.
You know this team is going to be mostly garbage, but they're going to pull out some big wins. Like they're probably going to lose to everyone but beat Piacenza twice. That's honestly what I think.
Put that on the record because I could completely see that happening. They lose to like whoever the new team is, Catania. They lose to them, and then they end up beating Piacenza a couple times. Could totally see it. That'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
I do like that. There's a couple Americans though. We didn't have any Americans in the Superliga.
Kyle Russell needs to be in the Italian league. Like he needs to be out there flexing those muscles, serving aces, so that John Spera knows his name for next year.
Thank you. Couldn't have said it better. Moving on to Padova. Padova will be likely very irrelevant. They have Gabi Garcia, who I like. They have
Gardini.
Oh God, if you have to start Davide Gardini, oh boy, you've got your own problems. They do have Paolo Porro's little brother at outside, who I think is supposed to be a really good prospect. So we'll see if he gets some time. They get Fabian Plock, the Dutch middle. They still have Zanger at libero, which is still a confusing signing to me. They have Falaski at center, who I actually really like. I think that's an upgrade over Saita. But I mean, this team is not going to do anything. They're not going to make the playoffs. If they don't get relegated, that'll be a good season, and I think we can kind of leave it at that.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially, I mean, I don't think they're going to get relegated. I think you need to look at Catania for that. Catania is basically they just took a bunch of all-stars from the second league from last year. Luka Basic, like Paul Buchkager, like those are their biggest names that they have. Santiago Arduino, that's all right.
Yeah, he's been playing forever. We got Masulovic, who's the Serbian guy in the middle. He's okay. But yeah, if I had to pick a team right now to get relegated, it's this one. It's Catania.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that's pretty much all of the Italian league.
Yep. That's it for the men's Italian league. I think we should talk about the women's Italian league, and I mean, we'll obviously start with Conegliano here. Actually,
we're doing men and women today.
Oh, sure.
Okay, well, we're not gonna have time to do anyone else if we're doing men and women Italian league.
Well, we'll go through it a little bit faster because I think after the top couple teams in the women's side, it's a little bit less significant. I just put the link in the chat for the women's Italian transfer spreadsheet, also curated by Tommy Blizzard. Starting off with the champs in Conegliano, very few changes.
Link's not there.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I just put it in the chat. Figure it out. I put it. It's on our show notes doc as well.
Oh, so and you put it in the chat of the
live chat of the video. Yeah,
it's
right there.
I'm not seeing it.
Oh.
People let me know if you can see it or not.
I just put it in there. Anyway, Conegliano is likely the same team. They do change a couple of their backup outside hitter options, including picking up Kalia Lanier, which I love. I think that's really cool. But same team, Volosh, Hawk. Big question marks around like Catherine Plummer, Kelsey Robinson, I guess Kalia Lanier, Alessia Gennari. Like, who knows what they're going to do at outside hitter? Can they still keep that level high enough with the couple Americans who have been inconsistent? I mean, they did win last year, to their credit. Why? How did that not work? I just put that link in the chat.
You have to press enter.
I did that.
There we go.
Just put it in again. I put it in twice. Ridiculous. Anyway, I mean, we got to talk about the biggest signing in all of club volleyball, men's or women's, this entire offseason is Paola Egonu to Vero Volley Malonza. That is by far the biggest signing of any team, any gender, anywhere. Paola Egonu is coming back to Italy. She is going to Milano. I mean, we're calling them Malonza again for a second straight year because they still can't figure out what their own club's name is. This is a huge deal.
At least this team for Milano makes so much more sense. So much more sense. You don't have a million players at every position, right? There's a very clear like what we're going to be doing here. Finally, Brenda Castillo gets on a team where she can actually play.
That's amazing.
Right? And having, this team is going to have some flavor to it. I actually kind of like it.
I like it too.
I actually kind of like it. You bring in Bayama, who showed that she could be at the top level last year.
Yep, just won a Champions League.
Yeah. Cazotte, okay. That's pretty nice.
I actually really like her. I think she's the best outside on this team.
Yeah, like Nika Daldro. It's very clear that, like, hey, Ogonu is going to drive this bus, right? And you have Oro there setting. I kind of like it. I kind of do. I think they did a good job with this.
Somebody says, no way Sila is going to be benched. I completely disagree. I think Bayama and Kazot is a great outside hitter duo.
Sila is past.
Sila's not good. Sila's not good.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what you've been watching. If you're thinking about Sila pre-pandemic or whatever, not the player she used to be. I like this team. I actually really like this team. If there's a year to finally knock Conegliano off the top of the league, it could be this year, and it could be with Egonu on Milano. I mean, it's interesting in the Italian Women's League because, and just kind of in the women's game in general, the outside hitter position, past Gabi and Irina Fedorovtseva, who I think are the top two in that order. Past that, I don't really. I see kind of a big jumbled mix at like the B plus A minus level in the world. at outside hitter, just kind of across the board. I think the biggest defining factor for this year in the Italian Women's League is who's going to rise to the occasion and be the most consistent outside hitters.
Yeah, that's fair. Sorry, I was
somebody give me the figure it out a week of the award. Why?
Yeah.
What did I say?
Because you couldn't post the damn thing in the chat.
I will screenshot this on my side. I posted the link twice in this chat. You stooges.
Milano is basically a fucking bag from AliExpress.
I mean, they did bring over literally 3 Vakifbank players from last year.
Yeah, they did. So yeah, sorry.
That's gonna be a fun one. I mean, I think this could be the year that Conegliano may no longer win the league. Let's move on to another team that will be a factor. That's Scandici. Scandici once again has made a bunch of moves that will provide themselves an utter nightmare with the foreigner limit. Why can't they figure this out? They bring in Britt Herbots. They bring in Carol, one of the best middles in the world. They bring in Maya Onjenovic, and they're not going to be able to start one of those players because of the foreigner limit. What are we doing? They had the same problem last year. How do you not learn? How do you not figure it out? You should be aware that you need 3 Italians in your starting 7. Why would you bring in Britt Herbots if you can't start her and Zhu Ting? Come on. Figure it out. We might have to rename the Figure It Out of the Year award after Scandici's front office. I mean, Tommy's right about this projected starters. They have a foreign setter, they have 2 foreign middles, and they have 2 foreign outsides. They're going to have to probably play Francesca Villani at outside, who I like.
Yeah.
But she's not Britt Herbots or Zhu Ting.
No. One of those guys is going to have to sit on the bench.
What are we doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
And they make a huge downgrade at libero, allowing Brenda Castillo to walk because they didn't have room for her in the foreigner limit either. Come on.
Not to mention, you have the Italian B team line up on the right side of Nwakalor and Antropova. Like, who are you going to pick? Who are you going to pick from those two?
And Antropova is a top 5 opposite in the league without question. I have no issues about her, but I mean,
Nwakalor, she's been able to prove that she's been able to get it done. She's able to prove with the VNL that she was able to get it done.
Not even a conversation. Not even a conversation.
I mean, clearly it is for Italy.
Antropova doesn't even have an Italian passport yet. She isn't eligible to play for the national team. Otherwise, she would have.
She was on the roster this year.
She was on the roster, but the whole reason she didn't play is because she couldn't.
No, she couldn't be on the roster if she couldn't. She could not have been on the roster for VNL for Italy if she did not have an Italian passport and was not eligible to play.
Italians, back me up here. It just broke today that she is on the Eurovolley roster. They brought 3 opposites on the Eurovolley roster, but there is an asterisk that if she can't sort out her passport, which so far she has not, then they'll replace her with somebody else. They do not have Antropova's Italian status fully figured out yet. That is still up in the air. I guarantee you. So somebody for Italian, back me up on this.
I think it's just like literally she doesn't have a physical passport, so she can't travel outside of Italy.
Also, I think you've got the wrong Nwakalor. I think this is Linda Nwakalor, the middle, not Sylvia Nwakalor, the opposite.
Oh, do we? Yeah, it's Linda Nwakalor. Bro, we have too many people with the same names here.
Anyway, Scandici has foreigner limit problems again. I can't believe they didn't figure this out, but they are extremely talented, so we'll see what happens. Novara is going to take a huge step back.
Massive.
Huge step back. They lose Abrar Karakurt to the Russian league, of all places. They lose... Who else did they lose? They lost both of their outside hitters. They lost Jordan Poulter. They have a bunch of Italians. They're still going to be good in the middle, but they're incredibly weak on the pins. If this team makes the playoffs, that would be good. Those are my thoughts for them.
You know who they've also picked up though? Lorenzo Bernardi.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh no!
Yes.
Oh no! Oh no! We have to watch Bernardi.
Yep.
Oh,
Bernardi is back as a coach.
Oh, that's the worst news I've ever heard.
The funniest thing too is that when you Google Lorenzo Bernardi, the first picture that shows up is a picture of him coaching for Perugia, like looking like he's wanting to choke someone.
Oh no! Oh, I didn't know that Bernardi went to the women's side. Oh, I don't want to watch this guy.
Yeah. Also, you have Orthman here. I think Orthman is better than
Then Ann Bice, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Orthwin's really good, but still, this Novara team will not be very good. This Chieri team up next, I actually kind of like, but they lack the superstar power on the wings. I think they're going to be okay. I like Weitzel in the middle; she's definitely going to start.
Mhm.
I actually like Grabelna on the right side too, and then I like Avery Skinner over Maddie Kingdon as far as American outsides go. So they're going to be good. I think they'll make the playoffs, but probably like fifth or sixth.
Bro, there's so much movement on the lower on all of the women's teams, the lower teams. There's so much movement.
That's why I don't really think we can cover all of it in this show. Save it for our dedicated Lega Volley Femminile preview later. Similarly, Castle Maggiore, I mean, a ton of movement. Micah Hancock to setter, Malvina Smarzak back to the Italian league at opposite. A bunch of names that I don't know, like two middles that I've never heard of. Parinelli and Cagnin are two Italian outsides that I've barely heard of. Ali Franti leaves, Lauren Carlini leaves, Adu Malawal leaves. Yeah, who knows? This is the part that Everett's talking about where there's just a huge revolving door at every position for every team.
Busto, which is used to being a top 5 team, all the way down here. Hey,
wow,
Lane Van
completely new team. Yeah, that's cool. You get a Canadian girl,
but literally the entire team
is
brand new. Is brand new. So it'd be interesting to see where Carly Lloyd goes. The former American national team setter,
still a free agent as far as it looks right now.
Yeah, looking like that as well. What are we talking about?
Bergamo, kind of similar, a couple differences. I really don't
They brought in Rosansky and
Davisiba.
Like that's not too bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I don't like Lorena on the right side. She is a back wall machine. Other than that, they're kind of similar to last year. They lose a couple of the Americans on that team that I liked. What's next? Firenze. Boy, I don't know really anybody that's on this team.
No. Mayu Ishikawa. You know, a little bit of Japanese flavor there.
I didn't know that she was coming to Italy. That's cool.
Yeah. Ishikawa's sister, of course.
Right.
Other than that, Lauren Sturvins.
Yeah, former Ohio State girl in the middle. She was good.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's Italy good. I guess we'll see.
Alsmeyer as well.
Yeah, she's pretty good.
From Schwerin and Germany. So, all right. Fair enough.
All right, whatever.
Valfolia here, Lauren Gicoma, Camilla Mangardi. I'm a Camilla Mangardi fan.
I like her.
I think she's a bit of a bull in China shop, which is what I call any smallish right side in the women's game with a good shoulder and good contact. So
yeah, she can pound the ball. But she after that good season she had with Busto a couple years ago, she has done nothing at all since.
Yeah, I know. That's just the Alexa Gray effect. When you play beside her, you just automatically get that.
Awesome. Thanks for getting that in there. Cuneo, pretty irrelevant. They've got Anna Hawks, Isabel Hawks' little sister, Anna Hawk on the outside. Anna Stevenson, the American, who I like. Maddie Kubik from Nebraska coming over, American. I didn't really know that. That's cool. Stigroth, I like. Who knows? Pinarolo, I can't even believe they survived in the league. Not very many moves that I recognized. Roma is back. Welcome back to the top division, Roma. Don't have any inspiring moves that make me think they're going to stay there. And then Trentino, welcome back to the top league as well. For Trentino, I also don't see any very inspiring moves that make me think they're going to stay there.
No, me neither. It'll be interesting to see. Like the women's league, very top heavy.
Yeah, as it always is. But the big move, of course, is Paola Egonu back to Italy and going to Milano. That is huge.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Rob, where do we want to go with this? Do we want to go by league? We almost should have done this in two different ones, one men, one women, because it's a lot to talk about, all the transfers all at once.
We can speed through a couple before we talk about we'll often do Plus Liga, we'll do Sultan Our Ligi for the women. But before we do those things, there's a couple things that we should talk about.
Yeah.
First of all, we hit 20,000 subscribers.
Oh, we did
hit 20,000 YouTube subscribers. How about that?
Big shout out to that one TJ DeFalco clip from VNL of his big bounce against the Dutch, which got us 10,000 subscribers. Basically,
Did it actually?
yeah, like our VNL trip, since our VNL trip, we've basically done 10,000 subscribers. So, yeah, it was nice. Thank you very much for supporting us. A lot of those new subscribers are from India and Indonesia, so welcome. And yeah, it's great to be up in the bigger numbers again. Still a little ways away from the 50,000 that the OG channel once was at. But thank you for everyone and participating, and thank you mostly. I want to thank mostly the fans to this show, because you guys are showing up consistently. And I mean, when was it? Like when we were doing the shows leading up to VNL last year, we were like getting 250 people. Dude, we have 250 people who tune in live now, which is crazy. So if you are like, there's so many of you who tune in and week out, and we thank you for that. Really, truly we do, because this is the best thing that we do. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, we appreciate it a lot. It's been difficult to build this channel. I mean, I'll certainly speak for Everett. It was, I mean, I had very little to do with it just from jumping on the show, but Everett mostly has built this channel back from zero, from where the old channel was. And I think it feels good to see the 20,000 subscriber number. It feels good. It feels legitimizing. I love the VNL content that we did. I love this show. I love the community that we've built around this show and in the Volleyball Source Discord. So this is good. This is good news. It's a nice step, and we're going to keep going.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
And to celebrate 20,000 subscribers, you should pick up some merch from thatvolleyball.store.
Yeah, absolutely. Head over to thatvolleyball.store. Use the code 15% off use the code SPICY for 15% off. You won't get any of this cool Algonquin College Thunder merch though. That's
I love that you're wearing that.
That's an exclusive back from my playing days. Fun story, they're not called the Algonquin Thunder anymore. They're now the Algonquin Wolves, because the president of the student association a few years ago decided that Thunder was appropriating culture from the indigenous, so we decided to call it the Wolves instead. Yes. So I will forever
Wait, you mean like thunder, like the natural worldwide weather phenomenon that literally everybody everywhere has experienced?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, like, our logo was, like a lightning bolt and a thunder. So apparently they did like a referendum within the school, and they asked the students what they wanted as a name, and the options were the Thunder, the Wolves, the Gray Wolves, and the Nice Wolves. the nice Wolves. Yes,
I wish that had won.
And then basically everyone voted for Thunder because no one wanted it to change. And then basically they were just like, well, there was the most options was for Wolves, so clearly people want that, so they went with the Wolves. And I will never support it. I will never support. Sorry, Yella, but I will never support it. But
we love Yella Van Kooimen, the coach over there. He's the best.
Yeah, he's also the mental trainer coach for Team Canada men's volleyball. But yeah, head over to thatvolleyball.store. Use the code SPICY to get 15% off your order. Rob, you should be getting yours any day.
Yes, I've got some 9x9 gear on the way. I'm very much looking forward to it. Also, we got to talk about Where's Daddy. It's everyone's favorite part of the show. It's where I hide Daddy Stankovic somewhere in one of our assets, and you have to find him. If you find Daddy Stankovic, who is our hero and the official mascot of the 9x9, if you find Daddy Stankovic, you comment the timestamp in the main YouTube comments after the show of where he is. You get a shout out on the following week's show. So last week we were talking about Challenger Cup, and you see there that I can't read the jersey number from here, but the shortest player there on the French women, number 63, as a matter of fact, is Daddy Stankovic. So congrats, nice. Daddy. Congrats, Daddy, for winning the Challenger Cup on the women's side. And people found him right away in the chat. Our friend Kenny McGraw was first. Our friend Franz from the Philippines right after that. We had some people finding Daddy Stankovic here celebrating with the French team. So if you find Daddy Stankovic, comment where he is as the timestamp in the main YouTube comments after the show is over. And if you're the first one to do it, you get a shout out next week.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
One of our favorite things that we have in the Volleyball Source universe. Always a good time.
Absolutely. Also, real quick, Rob, let's give a big shout out right now to our boy Michael Gomez, who's going through a scary time right now with a possible detached retina. If anyone knows Gomez, he is quite possibly the best photographer in the volleyball game. He was there in Ottawa recently, and he's just going through a rough time right now. So we're sending him our love. He's a Chicago guy like you. He's one of my buddies. He's been absolutely killing it. He's actually just been signed on to do Paris. So we're sending some love out to our volleyball family a little bit there with Michael Gomez.
We love Gomez. We love that guy. Best wishes to him. Okay, let's run down a couple more transfers, eh?
Before we do that, I'm just gonna ask you this question.
Okay, let's hear it.
What do you think the biggest transfer is in volleyball this year?
Egonu, for sure. It's
Egonu. We're going straight with the Egonu.
Definitely, yeah. And it is like which leads me to the next thing in our show notes doc is the Sultanar Ligi, because there was a direct 1-for-1 swap, just like there was last year with Isabel Hawk and Paula Egonu. This year, it's a direct swap with Paula Egonu and Jordan Thompson, formerly of Milano. Jordan Thompson will be the next opposite of Vakifbank. So there wasn't like the one gigantic move on the men's side, kind of like there was last year. I think it was pretty clearly Camille Semeniuk to Perugia was the big one last year, and we don't really have that so much this year for the men, because I think on the men's side, people are starting to figure out that consistency is a good thing year over year. I think the Zaxa and Trentino model is starting to have its influence on the transfer market, so we don't have as many like big splash moves. I mean, Modena made a bunch of huge moves, and then like Legumja to Lube is a decently big move. And there are a couple in the Plus Liga, but there's nothing on the men's side that's even close to the caliber of Egonu to Milano.
What you're saying, Alexa Gray to Exajabasha isn't of that caliber?
No, it is not.
Okay, you're right.
But it is a nice move.
It is a nice move. By the way, it's not the Sutenlar League. It looks like it's the Kadenlar League.
Oh, they renamed it
according to Volleybox.
Huh.
So, or maybe that's what it used to be, but who knows? Yeah. What? I'm looking through a few of the.
So I went through the Sultanar League teams, at least the Sultanar League teams that are good, and I wrote down the moves. So Vakifbank, they pick up Jordan Thompson on the right side, they picked up Ali Franti and Bianca Busha on the left sides. One of them will start next to Gabi. So basically, they replaced Bayama and Daldarup with another American, Ali Franti, and Bianca Busha, the Serbian, who I think is good. So other than that, they'll be the same team. Yeah, I expect it'll be Franti next to Gabi and Jordan Thompson on the right. So we'll see if that's good enough to replace Egonu.
You also have Alessia Karatasu in there.
She's been there. Yeah,
I know she's been there, but when is that chance for her going to get to be, a chance, a shot?
Good question.
When is she going to be getting in there? Last time we saw her was back when she played that season with Yeselyurt and they won the Challenge Cup. Was that like 2001?
Yeah, when she was like
2021. I mean,
when she was like 17 and was putting up 40 points a game. Yeah,
yeah, and Jen Cross was comparing her to Isabel Hawk, having played with both of them at that young age. So when are we going to see her bloom? Right. And I think that it's kind of that time. Like, to me, she should almost be playing for the lesser teams where she's getting that playing time.
Yeah.
Looking for those teams in Italy who are looking for a big right side, because I think she is a big right side and can make an impact, but we haven't seen her now for a few seasons.
Yeah. I would like to see her on like a THY or a Galatasaray, like a team like just outside that top three to be their primary scorer. But yeah, I think she's still at Vakifbank and she'll probably play pretty sparingly. Or that good point in the chat. Alexia can play if they want to use Chaka Bogu as the other foreigner. So if they want to use that Turkish spot on the right side instead of the middle and play Chaka Bogu, that's an option. I think that actually is a pretty good wrinkle, and you can do that more this year instead of like when you had Egonu or Hawk on the team, you really had to play them every single match. So now there might be some options. That's a very good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Zajabasha, you talked about Alexa Gray. The only other move they made was Jovana Stevanovic, the Serbian in the middle, who I actually really like. I think that's an upgrade there for sure. So we'll see if they can actually win a trophy this year.
One big transfer that you're missing here, in my opinion, is Stesiak to Fenerbahce.
I mean, I've got that on the list, dude.
Where?
You're not very good at reading today.
No, reading. No, after last night, absolutely not. For some reason, I was expecting. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
I was
It is on.
I was
It
just
is
about
on
to
the
get to
list.
Fenerbahce. Yes, Magdalena Stisiak is going to Fenerbahce along with Bojana Dirca, the Serbian setter, who it looks like will replace Makris. It doesn't look like Makris is staying there. So yeah, Stisiak. It looks like it's going to be kind of the same Fenerbahce situation where Melissa Vargas is going to play the first half of the year in China, and while she's over there, Stisiak will be the opposite and will get all the balls. And then when Vargas
Easy
comes
depth.
back, they'll probably put her in and maybe win another
Is-
league title.
Is she going to China again?
We assume. Otherwise, like, why would Stisiak go there to sit the bench again? I feel so bad for this girl. The last like 3 years, all she's done is, I mean, she's a top 10 opposite in the world, and for 3 years in a row,
Truly.
she's just
Why?
sat the bench for 3 years in a row
Why?
behind better opposites. So that's the only reason I think she would do this, is if she knows that it's going to be her spot for half the year.
But
I
even
hope
then,
if somebody knows this, if
even
somebody in the
then-
chat knows that Vargas is going to China again, please put it in there.
and first and foremost, Devin, you can get out of here. Okay, you can leave. We're gonna ban you. We're gonna ban you for that comment. But I mean, to me, like, bro, like Vargas is the best opposite in the game right now, better than Agonu. Like the way that she's been playing, like she is better than Agonu right now. And why would Stesiak do that to herself?
I don't know.
Like, why?
I don't know.
Maybe she likes this thing that, like does she like playing for Lavarini?
Yeah, Lavarini is going to Fenerbahce. That's a good
Right.
point.
Like you play under him with the national team, but why? Just go somewhere where you can be their shining star. Take them to the promised land. You can do it.
I think it has to be okay. Yeah, people are saying that Vargas is going back to China for the first half of the season. That's the only way this
But then
makes sense.
still, like, what's going to happen in the second half of the season?
Stisiak's going to sit the bench, unfortunately. Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Yeah, so Makris to THY and maybe Julia Bergman to THY as far as that like fourth place Turkish team goes. That could be a decent team. Who knows?
THY? Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So that's about all I had for the Sultanlar Ligi. I mean, once you get to the bottom tier teams, there's nothing to talk about.
There's anything past like to me, it's like
Galatasaray,
Galatasaray, and then maybe you throw in what's that?
Nilüfer, Heinen's
Nilüfer.
team.
Yeah, Heinen's team. That's the only thing that I'm looking at there. Yeah.
All right, I think that's about it for the Turkish Women's League. Let's talk about the Plus Liga, because there actually is a good amount of movement. It's mostly within the Plus Liga. It's like guys that are already there going to different teams. I think we can go team by team here. Starting off with Resovia. Resovia picks up Stefan Boyer. Thank God I don't have to watch Maciej Muzaj in Champions League. Unfortunately, we still have to watch Fabian Žižka in Champions League. I hate that. I'm really annoyed that Resovia finally returns to Champions League after all these years, and we have to watch Fabian Žižka set that team. So that sucks, but Boyer will be the opposite. That is an upgrade over Muzaj. Yasin Luati goes to Resovia to be the third outside behind DeFalco and Chebul, and Karol Klos goes there to probably be the second middle. So it'll be him and Kochanowski. I think that team will be really good, other than the setter.
There's some good things here. Do I think they're going to compete with the top teams? I'm not entirely sure, but I think they'll be relevant. They'll beat the crappy teams.
They'll beat the crappy teams. I think they'll be okay in Champions League too.
Yeah, for sure. Here, we want to keep on talking this? I gotta go to the bathroom.
Go for it, dude. Sure. Yeah, I'll keep running down the Plus Liga. I will mute Everett for the minute. Speaking of French opposites, we have Jean Patry going to Yashimsky Vengul to fill Boyer's spot. So JSW picks up Patry. They also pick up, I wish Everett was here to hear me make this comment, but finally we don't have to watch Jan Hadrava anymore. Yashimsky has a new second opposite, and it is none other than Canadian Ryan Slater. So I actually kind of like this. Slater's obviously way better than Hadrava in every conceivable way. So Yashimsky, the reigning champs. They've got Patry, who I really like. They've got Slater as the backup. They get Norbert Huber from Zaxa, does JSW, so that'll be interesting. I think they still have Glotter. They still have Wisniewski coming off the ACL tear. I think They might still have Mbaye. I don't know. Somebody tell me if all those middles are staying there for JW. But the question for JW will be outside hitter because Fornal is staying, but Kleveno is gone. Kleveno is going to Zavierce. And right now, the only guy they have picked up to replace him is Marko Sedlacek, the Croatian guy. And then they've got Kamil Shimura. So, or no, sorry, is Shimura the libero? What's older Shimura's name? Why do I forget this? I'm going to look it up to make sure I get this right. Rafael Shimura is the outside hitter. So they're going to have one of those guys. It's definitely a step down at outside hitter, but they've got everybody else. They've got Patry as the new opposite for JSW, and thank goodness we don't have to watch Hadrava anymore. Speaking of Trevor Kleveno going to Zavierce, Zavierce is loaded. Zavierce is absolutely loaded. So they pick up Trevor Kleveno, which is awesome, who will be next to Bartosz Kvolek. They pick up Mateusz Biniak. Thank goodness we don't have to watch him play for Skra anymore. So Biniak will be in the middle for Zavierce. They pick up Karol Butrin on the right side, who Everett and I both love. And they've still got Tavares at setter. They've got Luke Perry at libero, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check that because he's amazing. Yeah, man. Luke Perry at libero, Biniak and probably Shalacha in the middles. Butrin on the right side, Tavares at setter, and Kvolek and Kleveno at outside hitters. Like, that team is loaded. So good. They might be a good pick on paper to win the Plusliga this year with a team that good. Then also Everett, who he already knows this, but Sam Cooper, the outside hitter out of McMaster in Canada, is going to back up the outside hitter spot, which is really cool. So this Zavierce team is stacked. It's kind of a shame that they're not playing Champions League again. That would have been sick. They could easily win the CEV Cup with a team this good. So good for Zavierce. Another team in Poland that I really like is Olsztyn. Olsztyn made some really nice moves this offseason. They get Alan Souza, the Brazilian, at opposite. They get Kuba Havreluk, one of the best young liberos in the game. I think he's a 2003, and he's really good. They get my guy Nico Szczerjan, who I love, VLA guy, and he's Polish. They get Manuel Armoa as well. So they've got a good little outside hitter thing. They've got Szczerjan, they've got Armoa, and they've got Moritz Karwitzek at Olsztyn with Josh Tuaninga setting. So that Olsztyn team, maybe they'll be a tiny bit weaker in the middle, but they'll be pretty gnarly everywhere else. I mean, Allen, Szczerjan, Armoa, Karwitzek on the wings. That's pretty good. Hi, Everett. Welcome back. I'm talking about the Plusliga. We talked about Ryan Slater going to JW.
Oh yeah, can we talk about that real quick?
Sure.
Sorry, I had McDonald's late night last night, and it's just running through me in a not fun way.
Awesome.
Yeah,
the best volleyball coverage on the internet right here.
Absolutely. Okay. The thing is with JSW right now is that they brought in two new opposites. Now, who do they have on the opposite? Oh, they had Boye last year.
They had Boye and Hadrava.
And your best friend.
Thank God we don't have to watch him anymore. I think he's going to Galatasaray according to the chat.
But yeah, so I don't know. Like, I think with Petke, like, I think Petke is a big move for them. But I think this is going to be good for Sclater. Like, I think like playing that O2 role is kind of perfect for him, and he's been making his money in the UAE.
Like Dubai last year.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Like UAE last year, he's been making his money. And when we talked about with him at VNL, he was like, bro, this is one of the best years just for me as a person. Like we were making good money. Like we lived in a great spot. It was really safe. But yeah, he seemed to be pretty excited. When I asked him about this, he was just like, bro, like, you know as much as I do, but I'm glad it happened. And I think this is going to be a good spot for him. I think the fans are really going to embrace him. I think he's going to bring a lot of energy off the bench, a lot of speed on that right side. Yeah, I'm excited for him. And I think JW is poised to have another good season if Fornal can be a guy again.
JW does use the 6'2" a lot as well. So you're going to see Slater a good amount. But what I was saying, though, is their issue is going to be outside hitter. They lost Trevor Kleveno, and they didn't really replace him with anyone.
Sedlacek.
Sedlacek and Shimura.
Yeah, I mean, Shimura is really good in terms of like ball control and stuff like that, but I don't know if he can be if he can be kind of at that level offensively.
I agree. Yeah, and then we talked about Zavierce being loaded. Like Xavierce on paper is probably the best team in
Sam
the
Cooper,
league.
baby. Let's go.
Sam Cooper. Yeah, I mean Kleveno and Kvolek. They got Butrin. They got Biniak and a couple good young middles. They got Luke Perry at libero. I mean that team's going to be awesome.
And they have Tavares Setting, who I think
Yeah.
is very underrated. Like if Tavares was from a better volleyball country, we'd care more about him.
That's well said. Yeah, he's good. I'm not. If you were going to use a foreigner spot on a setter for a team that's this good, I thought they might go maybe somewhere else. But I mean, Tavares has been there the last couple of years. Also, Mark in the chat saying, "Oh, they have Winiarski as the head coach," talking about that as a handicap. I don't think Winiarski is as bad as some people say.
No.
But this team on paper is going to be extremely good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm excited to watch Sam Cooper come off the bench and bomb serves.
Yeah, and he will do that.
You know that's exactly what he's going to do. And I mean, hey, he apparently he signed his contract, and the next day he dropped to 19 against Poland. So that's huge for him.
Love it. Yeah, good for Sam. I think that's an amazing first contract.
Yeah, 100%.
Talked about Olsztyn as well. I like that team. Sherzhin, Armoa, Karlitzek on the left, Allen on the right, Tuininga setting, and some like this Havryluk kid at libero is a young Polish prospect who's really good. So I like that team a lot. And
I just want Tuininga to be healthy.
me too. And he is. He is as of now.
I guess he did play VNL.
Yeah, played a little VNL. Warsaw is mostly the same team. They pick up Stresko Licenats, which is awesome, and Bowanj, the lefty opposite from Gdansk, who is going to play over Linus Weber. So other than that, they're the same. I think they still got Shalpuk and Tilly and Fearless setting.
You think he's going to play over
Weber? Yeah,
Weber?
definitely. Yeah, Bowanj is really good. He's really good. I think he's better than Weber straight up.
Yeah, but they have Weber signed until like through next season too.
They do.
Him and Shalpuk are the only two guys like that to me. And like Weber was their guy last year. Like
he didn't play about half the year.
They injury.
Yeah, I know. They struggled. I don't know. I think that Bowanj will be the starter. We'll see. Also, somebody talked about Polonsky earlier. That Manuel Armoa, the other Argentinian guy, is going to a better team than Polonsky because Polonsky is going to Barkom Lviv, the Ukrainian team that plays out of Krakow in the Plus Liga. But Polonsky is going to be the best player on that team, and Armoa will not play very much for Olsztyn, mostly because of the foreigner limit. But it is interesting that Armoa is going to go play for fellow Argentinian Javier Weber at Olsztyn, and Polonsky is going to a Ukrainian team, but he's going to be the best player there. We like Polonsky, he's a friend of the show.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised, especially after this VNL. Like it depends on when he signed that contract because this to me is not a post VNL contract. Not the way that he played this one.
I agree. I think this contract was signed before VNL, and I think that his stock has only increased since then.
Agreed.
So I've got the other things there are a couple other big transfers not included that we haven't talked about yet. The first one is someone put in the chat earlier, Irvin Ingapet, the Halkbank Ankara. So Halkbank will now have Irvin, Namir, and Micah Ma'a as their foreigners. It's going to be pretty sweet.
Bro.
What is that going to look like?
If there's ever been a team that could walk in game time, still wearing their tracksuits, just from off the street, and could just ball out and win in 3, it's going to be this team, right? And I'm not putting Micah Ma'a or Namir in that like category with, like the Brizals and the Romanos who don't care, but just have the ability to turn it on. This is a team that has the ability to turn it on. And this is also a team that's built for the Champions League as well.
100%.
Make no doubt about it. This is a team that is built to make a deep run in the Champions League.
They will, just like they did this year. But I have a question, Everett. Can they win the FLR League? Can they overcome Ziraat Bank, which they were not able to do this year, especially if the rumor ends up being confirmed? This is a rumor that a certain Matt Anderson is headed to Ziraat Bank in the Turkish league.
Matt Anderson did let St. Petersburg know today, apparently. Today.
Really?
Returning. Yeah, according to volleyball.it. They posted this today.
Guess who else?
Oh no,
Speaking
wait,
of,
never mind. It was posted on the 31st. Their website is all messed up.
Speaking of Argentinian outside hitters that we like, Luciano Vicentin is going to Ziraat Bank, which is another move that I really like. So, I mean, that team with Matt Anderson against like Nimir and Irvin Ingapet, those couple of Turkish league games and the Turkish playoffs are going to be pretty sweet.
So just a real quick thing on the Matt Anderson thing. His contract isn't up, and according to the team, he might face a hefty penalty of $950,000.
Yeah, that'd be a
decision
huge buyout.
leave.
Huge
But
buyout.
but because of the whole, there's precedence right now with FIFA with allowing players to leave their contracts in Russian and Ukrainian clubs right now, so he may be able to leave for free.
Yeah, that's I think that's the key. Is he gonna like get some loophole because of the war? But if he has to stay in ZSP and they're like dealing with right now, he clearly wants to leave. I don't know how that's really gonna go for him.
No,
So
me either.
hoping the best for Matt Anderson. Obviously, I love the guy. Yeah, who knows? Where's King Garrett playing? Who cares? Probably like South Africa or something stupid.
Oh, there's no volleyball in South Africa.
That's why Garrett would go play there.
Let's see where he's going to
Probably
play.
like Paraguay. Who knows?
He was sorry, he was playing in Jakarta last year.
I know. Indonesia, like after playing in Egypt the year before, and now I actually kind of want to look this up. Garrett is currently a free agent.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Crazy. Everett, I put in a list of a bunch of Canadians where they're going. You want to run them down and see like what jumps off the page to you as for like Canadian men transfers?
Yeah, for sure. I will be doing closer to the season. I will be doing like a standalone video for this, and I think you should do one for the US as well.
I absolutely will.
But yeah, I mean, we talked about Ryan Sclater going to Poland, which I think is awesome. Sam Cooper as well. Another guy going to the Plus Liga is going to be Brody Hofer, who's heading to Red Dom for his first year. That is going to be a lot of fun. Let's see what Red Dom is working with this year, because that's going to be
probably not much.
Probably not much. I know they were in the oh, you know who's going to Red Dom though?
Who?
Our favorite, Mr. Aquaman, Nikola Maljanats.
Yes, I love that.
Maljanats, and they have Todorovic as well, another younger Serbian setter. So that is going to be fun.
Okay,
Rafael Bustek.
Well, I always hated Bushek. I thought he was incredibly overrated.
I don't think this is a team that can, make the playoffs, but I do think that this is a team that's going to have some fun. They went for it a little bit last year, bringing in Uncle Mo, and that did not work at all. So they've kind of retooled. They're going younger. I think Brody is going to get some good minutes there and is going to learn a lot. So, and I think Redom is going to find that they found someone who's a fighter, right? And loves to battle. So I think that's awesome. Byron Katarakis is also heading to Poland for Czestochowa. I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Czestochowa. I think they got promoted this year.
Did they?
I think they're playing Plus Liga.
Oh, okay. Let's
Caleb Jennis from Ball State's going there too. Yeah, David Dulski is there. He was Zavierce's backup opposite last year. He's really good. Like, I'm pretty sure that this is a Plus Liga team. Yeah, it is. It is.
I don't even know how to spell it. Oh, C Z.
Yeah, Norvid is the. I don't know anything about this team, and we'll learn about them as the Plus Liga goes on. But yeah, they've got a couple North Americans.
Yeah, they are. Also, Sho Takahashi, as one of the liberos. Caleb Jennis. I'm not so sure on Caleb Jennis. I saw him play with the B team last summer, and I'll be honest, I don't like his game. I really don't. I think it's a very linear game. Say Norvid. Okay, that's yeah. Rob is out here learning all the pronunciation. So yeah, there's going to be a few guys there in the Plus Liga. 4 guys in the Plus Liga. That's the most Canada's ever had. So
4 Canadians. Wow.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Absolutely love that. Going down this list as well. Landon Curry heading over to Nice in France, which is huge.
What an amazing first contract for a libero.
Massive.
That's incredible.
For our North American.
North American libero.
American, which is the big thing, because it's tough as a North American libero. I mean, Justine Wong Harantes is still playing in the Pusliga, right? So that's massive. Another one of our liberos, Justin Louis heading up to Finland to go play for the Vanta Ducks, which might have one of the best logos in all of volleyball. It's like search this up. You're gonna want to search
I'm
this
doing it right now
on Volleybox right now. Even if you can screen share and show what you're looking at, because it's like a Mighty Ducks-esque duck who's like angry, who's squeezing a volleyball.
Oh, I see it. Okay, this is awesome.
How dope is that, right?
I need to like zoom this way in.
Yeah, throw that up there for the folks at home to take a look. Vanta's a pretty good team too.
Check this out. Look how cool that logo is.
That's dope.
That's awesome.
That is a sick. I also like how
that's an all-time cool volleyball logo.
Yeah,
I love that.
And I don't even know what's like written there beside it. It must be something in Finnish, but absolutely love that.
Sweet.
Yeah, continuing down this list, Graham Vigras unretires, heading over to Spain. That to me, that's a lifestyle move.
100%.
That is a lifestyle move. Graham went back to Calgary for 1 year, and he was just like, absolutely no. I am not dealing with this cold. I am not dealing with this snow. Get me back into a gym. I'm gonna go take my wife and kid to Spain. I'm gonna go live on the beach. I'm just gonna go play in an easy league. I'm an Olympian. I'm going to make some money. Let's go. No one wants to see that. So
love Graham. Shout outs to him.
Love that Graham is getting back in there. Also, the Berger boys are still going to continue being the Bergen boys, even though like Lundberg is still. I mean, the last time Lundberg was anything more than North American, I don't think they were in the league, because you've got Max Elgert, Xander Ketrazinski, and Jesse Elser all on that team alongside. Help me out here. Matt Slavinsky.
Gage Worsley is staying, plus Matt Slavinsky, Matt Niggy, and Blake Leeson. Like that's 7 North Americans on that Lundberg roster. Amazing.
Jan Boma, the lefty, who played for the German team this year, going to be joining that team as well. So love that. Hubner still coaching this team.
Love Hubner.
Are they still going to be as effective? I'm not entirely sure.
They're playing Champions League, so we'll see.
They are playing Champions League. Okay, that's going to be a fun roster.
That is going to be a really fun roster.
Who do you think they're going to start with? Like, how's Slavinsky? Who's he? Where's he from?
Slavinsky's a VLA guy. He's really good. He's was the best player by far in NCAA Division III a couple years ago. Played for a school called Carthage that won the national championship.
Carthage is a team, right?
Yeah, Carthage is really good. And Slavinsky was in Estonia last year and was one of the best players in the league. So, but I think that their starters will probably be Jesse Elser and Eric Rohrs. Eric Rohrs is a German guy that we saw in VNL a little bit. So I doubt Slavinsky will start. But he's good, and like he definitely belongs in the Bundesliga. He's good enough for that.
Okay, and then down the middle, you think they're going to go with Leeson and Niggy?
I think so, because the only other middle I see them having on the roster is, well, depending on what position Xander plays, is this Joschka Kunstmann guy, who I've absolutely never heard of, German guy. So there's a great chance we see 2 Americans or maybe Xander, depending on what position he plays.
Yeah, it looks like Xander's back on the opposite now.
Yeah, and then tell me about Max Elgert, etc. I don't know him very much.
Okay, so Max Elgert, I like Max Elgert a lot. He played last year for Bydgoszcz in the Polish second league, but he's a University of Alberta Golden Bear. So he comes from a really good setting lineage, and he was one of those guys who kind of he's basically been the guy, like he took over from in Alberta from Brett Walsh, basically. And has been running that program, and has been in the national team for a while now. Hasn't really been getting that many sniffs of recent, but I thought that coming back after the COVID season, like when Alberta won nationals 2 years ago, ago, he was the big reason why. Like the work that he was able to put in, the time that he was able to put in, he got more physical. His serving got better. He was better at the net. He was just a much more confident player. I think this is a really good move. Someone with a really, really good high volleyball IQ. I love the fact that they're bringing in Max Elgert, and I love to see him kind of having that opportunity at that next level, because I think he deserves it. And it's really interesting about how you've got Luke Herr and Jay Blankenau in Greece, and then of course you've got
Brett Walsh to France, right?
Brett Walsh to France, exactly. We'll talk about that a little bit, but I like this move for Max Elgert. I think he's going to have the chance to lead that team. He's a lot more straightforward and tactical in his setting than the pure art that is Joe Worsley, but I like him for this team.
Cool. Yeah, Lindbergh's always fun. I'm looking forward to them. In Champions League, that's going to be crazy. Bunch of Canadians and Americans in the French league as usual, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Poitevin or Poitiers? No, yeah, Poitevin.
Yeah, did they change names? I'm not sure.
I'm pretty sure. I'm sure it should be just Poitiers. No,
I think they might have changed names, but that's what Volleybox has. Anyway, Jackson Howe, Melser, and Brett Walsh on the same team, which is cool.
Yeah, that should be a fun one. How Brett Walsh works with Howe and Melser. I mean, Melser finally getting some, like, this will be his first time actually playing a season on the left side, so that'll be interesting. Howe is going to be released there by Walsh, and good to see Walsh get out of Greece a little bit. Also, Jordan Schnitzer heading to Saint Nazaire, which is really, I like that a lot.
Me too. I think Saint Nazaire still has Quinn Isaacson. I think they have Kyle Ensing this year.
They did last year. They did last year. So let's look at that.
I'm looking that up right now.
Yeah, Quinn Isaacson, Jordan Ewert, and Kyle Ensing, all there alongside Jordan Schnitzer. So I think Jordan Schnitzer is really going to get along with those three Americans, especially.
Oh, Jordan Ewert's going there too. Then that team's going to be really fun.
Because, like, let's be honest, like, Kyle Ensing's a bro.
100%.
Isaacson is a bro. Ewert, bro. Jordan Schnitzer, bro. Like, and then you have that Icelandic Helder Spencer, Cape Verde. Sorry, Cape Verde.
Wow, of all places.
Who's that?
Oh, is he the lefty?
Big physical lefty. Yeah, absolutely.
Lefty middle. That's so cool.
Mm-hmm. So I think that's going to be a lot of fun for those guys. That's going to be a fun team to watch, kind of in the similar vein as the Burger Boys. And now Saint Nazaire is a team that has been always on the cusp. They've been B, they've been A, they've been B, they've been A. Last year was their first year moving up. They started the year absolutely big, and really made a push and did a really, really good job. I love the fact that they're keeping the majority of their team together. Adding a very, very physical Jordan Ewert in there is gonna make a difference for them too.
Yeah, that's gonna be cool.
Yeah. Going down this list, Jackson Young to Friedrichshafen is a very interesting one to me, that I think that has a lot of potential. He's not going there to start, he's going there to learn, but this is a guy who played for big shout out to Nipissing University. It is a small town in northern Ontario called North Bay, and I think this is a team that used to be in the CCAA, which is kind of like our college league, so it's kind of like your D3. And I think that Young has built a really, really good program. Like, very rarely does he get any guy, like, he rarely gets guys who are recruited by other people. But Young has been on the junior program, has been in the program, was actually made the extended roster for VNL last year. He's really explosive. Actually, on the old Instagram, there was a clip of him hitting an X that went absolutely viral. So I think that's a good move. I think he's going to learn a lot at Friedrichshafen. It's too bad they're not playing Champions League.
Yeah, they're not playing Champions League. They had that issue with their new arena that wasn't compliant. They were going to have to pay a ton of money to play somewhere else or whatever it was. All right. Anything else about Canadians?
No, that's about it. I'm going to do some more in-depth research a little bit later on in the year, or once we get closer to the actual year, and do a show just specifically on the Canadians.
Cool. Yeah, I'll do the same thing for the Americans. There isn't actually that much movement among American national team guys. A lot of them are kind of staying where they were. We already talked about like Jendrick and Kyle Russell to Toronto in Italy, which is cool. Thomas Jeschke's going to Japan, which is, I mean, for me, kind of a bummer, but he'll do well there. Taylor Averill, who everyone thought might go to Zaxa, is instead going to the Chinese League. But honestly, good for him. If you can go to the Chinese League and make a lot of money to play for like 2 months, do it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. 100% a good lifestyle move there for Taylor Averill. And then maybe he'll jump on someone second half of the year in Europe, like we saw Jeschke and like Juan Terena do last year. And Bednor's, obviously. Shoji and Smith are both staying at Zaxa.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Russell staying in Japan. DeFalco staying at Resovia. We talked about Gabby Garcia going to Padova. I don't know where Max Holt's going.
I don't know if he's going. Yeah, I don't even know if he's on a roster yet.
He played in China last year.
Maybe he'll just go back there.
Yeah, maybe he'll go back there.
We can ask him if we see him in a little bit.
Yeah, maybe we can.
Oh, it does say still.
Yeah, I think
it does say still. So I think he's on a multi-year contract there.
I mean, that's awesome, dude. You go, it's like January to March only. It's so short.
Yeah.
So short. It pays pretty well. So yeah, good for Max Holt. Bunch of NCAA guys jumping over to Europe for the first time. I like the idea of doing a dedicated video about that. We don't have to run down that whole list right now.
I do really like Joe Worsley going to Chaumont.
Me too.
And Chaumont, where you have Marshman, Gassman, and McDonald.
Yeah, like, Dan McDonald is Chaumont. That's right.
You've got the three. Marshman's a middle too.
Yep.
Okay, so you got 3 American middles there, and Joe's just like,
yeah. Marshman's awesome. Love that guy.
Nico Sukinen, random
Finnish guy.
Finnish guy, played for Plessy Robinson before. So, okay, we'll have to ask Beandog how he is.
Victor Cardoso, some Brazilian guy coming in an outside hitter. No idea who that is.
Apparently, he played U21 World Championships though.
Yeah, the French League's really good. The French League is going to be super competitive.
I would love to see, and I've said this before, I would love to see a tournament just France versus Germany versus Turkey. On the men's side, I think those 3 leagues would just compete really well against each other.
Yeah, that would be fun. All right, I think that might be a show. I think we might be about done here.
Yeah, we've talked a lot.
We've talked a lot. Talked a lot about club transfers, so we've officially checked that box. You people can't bother us about talking about club transfers anymore this offseason. So a reminder, we will not have a show next week.
No show next week.
I'll be flying to Northern Ireland on Friday night. I'll be in Northern Ireland, Scotland, and London, which would be really cool.
Of all the places you could go to in Europe during the summer, Croatia.
My wife and her family are in
Italy?
are in actual Ireland right now, and then I'll be meeting up with them
in fake Ireland.
No, don't say that. Northern Ireland. I'll do the little British Isles thing, and then I'll be back the following week. So we'll have a show 2 weeks from now. Probably, let's see, what day is that? Probably Monday, the 21st. Maybe, or like at least that week, and we'll talk about Eurovolley, because I think Eurovolley women starts that week, and Eurovolley men starts like the following week. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, and maybe we'll have some news.
I hope so. I hope that we'll have some news.
Yes.
Dude, Eurovolley women starts the 15th. It starts next week.
Shit. It's literally in 6 days.
Yeah, that's nuts. So Eurovolley women starts next week. Eurovolley men starts the week after that. So we'll be jumping back in just in time for one of the biggest tournaments of the year.
And then, basically the same week that the Eurovolley men starts, Norseca women starts, and I'll be in Quebec City for that.
Yeah. So that'll be really cool.
Yeah.
So join the Volleyball Source Discord. I see our Turkish friend Berkay talking about what he knows about the Turkish men's and women's club rosters. So he'll put that in the Discord. Oh, is really the Hubert Wagner Memorial? Is that next week? One of the like a glorified exhibition tournament. I forgot about that one actually.
Who's at that tournament this year?
It's always like a Eurovolley warm up.
Havana. Yeah. Who's at or whenever they always have it. Let's see if we can search this up. Hubert Wagner
Memorial. Who is playing this tournament? Is there a 2023 edition? No, I can't find it on Wikipedia.
France,
wait,
Italy.
It's on Flash Score. That's incredible. France, Italy, Poland, Slovenia. Wow, good crew of teams.
That might actually be worth watching. That might actually be worth watching.
Good. I'm impressed. I
yeah.
can't believe that's on Flash Score. That's incredible.
Yeah. The 18th, you've got Italy versus France, Poland versus Slovenia. 19th, Slovenia versus Italy, Poland versus France, and then France versus Slovenia, Poland versus Italy.
Wow. Normally, I would make the joke that that's a tournament that Poland can actually win, but they just made VNL, so I can't make
Yeah, they
one
just won
VNL, so I
VNL.
can't make that joke anymore.
Yeah.
All right. So this has been a good little break show. We'll be back in about a week and a half. We'll jump into Eurovolley and catch up on everything in the national team world. But thanks for watching. It's fun to talk about transfers. Make sure you check out that volleyball.store. Use the code SPICY for 15% off. And yeah, enjoy. I'll have the week off next week, and we'll be back to catch up with like the second half of national team season. All right, people. Peace. Thanks.